In April 2021, real estate broker Raul Villanueva of ReMax took me all over San Juan, showing me the top up-and-coming neighborhoods. Toward the end of our tour, we got into a great conversation about the Puerto Rico lifestyle, and he shared some property buying tips that you really need to know.
In the history that I have in my 50 years of living, I was born and raised in New York 30 years, and I lived in South Florida for 10. Now I've been in Puerto Rico for, this is my 10th year, and you know, there's good and bad everywhere, but what I can tell you is that the lifestyles, the difference, you know, finding myself in New York and in South Florida, it was you know, the hustle and bustle and work. Where I lived in beautiful places, and like in South Florida, gated communities, and didn't know my neighbors, you know, just said hi from a distance and didn't get to interact. And a lot of my neighbors, I lived there for 9 years, and a lot of them I didn't know their names because it was just a lifestyle of work, pay the bills, and you know, on the weekends take care of errands and groceries and laundry. So it was a little bit robotic. Here it's so much different, the lifestyle. I mean, you know, it's so family oriented, and you get to meet and interact with neighbors and know their names, and it's more personal level, which I find. And what I love about Puerto Rico are the people. The people are resilient, and they are so friendly and helpful. I mean, you could be on the side of the road with a empty tire or battery issue, and people, strangers, will pull up to you and say, you know, help out, want to volunteer to help and get involved to help out. So I love that about the people here.
Totally.
So they're very friendly compared to other places in the world. Plus, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to be able to get into real estate in Puerto Rico in the last 5 years, and I've been blessed and fortunate to build passive income, to have you know, comfortable living where kind of, you know, instead of you working for money, money works for you, you know, have a passive income. So I'm very grateful and to be fortunate and blessed.
That's awesome. And part of that is because prices here are such that they're attainable.
Yeah, part of it is the low real estate prices, the low property taxes, the tax advantages, and just being in the market, being in the business, and the investment opportunities of, you know, investing your money into income properties and have a passive cash flow income.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything you miss about the States?
Well, I born and raised in New York for 31 years. I miss New York in the summer, not the winter.
Right.
So I miss going to Coney Island to have a hot dog on the boardwalk, or go see a baseball game, Yankee Stadium, or drive down to the Jersey Shore. But we try to do that once a year in the summer for a week.
So it's always there. You can always go back.
Yeah, it's a 3.5 plane ride.
Yeah. So tell me about property taxes in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, property taxes compared to the States are much lower. Commercial properties I've seen here anywhere from $700 to $900 a year for property taxes. Same thing with homes, with single-family residences. I've seen as low as $400 to $900. But with the property taxes on your single-family residence, on your primary residence, you have what's called an exoneration, where you pay zero taxes. So you would pay for your second property or more. So that's definitely a big plus. So a lot of properties have that exoneration.
Is that available to everyone, or does it depend on municipality?
Yeah, it's available island-wide. Now the exoneration sometimes runs 10 to 15 years, so depending on when you buy the property.
So how are taxes calculated? Does it vary by municipality?
Yes, there's a factor, which I'd be able to send over by email. But there's a factor that you multiply, municipality, and that'll give you the annual property tax.
Gotcha.
And it's paid biannually,
Okay.
January and July.
And then what should people know about the process of buying real estate here? Like, how is it different than what they might be used to?
Well, it's similar and in some ways and different in others. Similar in that when you go to see properties, agent will ask you for your pre-qualification letter if it's financed, or proof of funds if it's a cash transaction, and you'll see properties and make offers. When you qualify for the bank, it's the same process. You'll have to submit your last 2 years of tax returns and financials.
Yeah.
The one difference is at closing. You can place a property under contract by DocuSign or email a option contract with a deposit, a good faith escrow deposit. But the difference is at closing. The buyer and seller have to be present at closing in front of an attorney. And the attorney handles the closing and presents the deed at closing and a copy of it at the registrar's office. So it's a little bit old style Spanish European where you have attorney, buyer, and seller all present.
Yeah.
Or if you can't be present, it would be through a power of attorney.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no, not yet, no FedEx closings allowed. But hopefully that's down the road soon.
Okay, so on the island, you can get financing, but you have to use a local bank. That's correct?
Correct. Financing is available, but it would have to be a local lender.
And do you have contacts that people can
Yes, we have
use?
many contacts with local lenders, whether it's banks or mortgage brokers.
And the rates here, they tend to run a little bit higher than the mainland, in my experience.
Yeah, rates are a little higher and closing costs as well, especially if it's a second home or investment property. I mean, you have VA loans, you have FHA loans, 203K, just like in the States,
Yeah.
for little or no down payment. But if you have a second home or investment property, then you're looking at probably a point higher on the rate and 20%, about 15 to 20% down payment.
And then what do closing costs typically run? Is it like 5%, 7%,
Yeah, it's on the higher side.
10?
Could be higher.
Yeah.
It depends the lender. They have different fees, but that's one of the comments from clients from the States, that they see that the closing costs are higher.
Yeah.
Many clients are taking advantage of the States, and what they've done is home equity loans on their properties in the States, since their values are high.
Right.
And they've cashed out and used that equity to come here to buy cash. And on a certain opportunity, cash is king, where you can get a really good deal and negotiate a cash price.
Yeah.
And a much speedier closing after a title search and title insurance.
It's a good strategy. So if you pay cash, how quickly can you close?
Yeah, well, some attorneys can close title study. Title insurance is optional. Insurance is optional as well. Many people self-insure, but you can close within 2 to 3 weeks relatively quickly.
So how does title insurance work on the island? And I imagine if you're getting a loan, the bank is going to require it.
Yeah, if you're getting a loan from the bank is going to have some requirements, like title study, their own title study, and their own appraisal, not a third-party appraisal.
Yeah.
And there are a few title companies in the island that can provide you title insurance. So here, that's another difference, that you don't close at a title company. You close in the presence of an attorney.
Yeah.
Unless you choose to close at a title company, that's up to the seller, because the local law dictates here that the seller chooses the attorney.
Yeah.
And at that point, you could choose to close with a title company as well.
Okay. And title insurance, I would guess that's pretty important on the island, kind of given the whole issue with the families sometimes disagreeing about who owns what. And
Yeah, it's highly recommended, you know, to spend a few hundred extra dollars and have that title insurance, especially if you're negotiating a transaction through a family
Yeah.
or some kind of scenario like that.
If I'm a buyer paying cash and I want to conduct my own title study, how much does that cost?
Yeah, you can do your own title study and appraisal through third-party colleagues.
Yeah.
Basically, I have an appraiser that can appraise residential property for around $250, $300.
Okay.
And there's many that do title studies, title work, and they charge anywhere from $50 to $100 for a title study.
Okay.
Yeah, the information in Puerto Rico, which is different, there's not a lot of data like you have in the States.
Yeah.
And we have a MLS that is up and coming. It is growing. However, the data is not like in the States where it's plentiful.
Yeah.
And also, the not only the data, but the information, like it's not public records for properties.
Yeah.
That's the one difference in the States. There's no public records. You have also comps, you know, for neighborhoods. Comps and data are scarce.
How do you feel about Tasamax as a source for some comps?
Yeah, there's a couple companies like Tasamax and Luis Abreu that they provide us some basic comps. They help out with a lot of data for certain areas.
And do they collect that through banks or through public records or both?
It's pretty much banks that
Yeah.
you see on there, yeah.
So you won't see cash deals on there?
A lot of times you won't. No,
Okay.
sometimes you will, but a lot of times you won't.
That's good to know.
Yeah. I know on certain sites like Realtor.com and Zillow, you have those estimates and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's limited here on what you see as far as data.
Are those anywhere near accurate for Puerto Rico, or do they even try?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, many times their maps are not accurate. Sometimes you have to go by Google Maps with the pin location,
Yeah.
GPS to get to a spot. And also, I haven't seen too much data as far as prices for their estimates locally.
So when people come from the States to buy, they come with a whole bag of expectations, probably from their past experiences buying in the States. How do you reset those? What do you tell them to expect on the island?
Yes, well, I would say just take a breather. Enjoy. You're in tropical island paradise first and foremost. So that style is a little different here. Definitely pick a location first and foremost. Highly recommended. Then find your property, whether you want a house or a condo. Definitely get pre-qualified to find out how much you could afford. But just, you know, patience is a virtue because it's an island lifestyle for certain things. Like, you know, waiting in line in certain places or dealing with a bank, submitting paperwork, going through the lending process. It, you know, is a process that requires some patience. And just, you know, and try to make the best of it. Enjoy it as it goes.
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay, so Raul, if I'm an investor coming to the island, what do you think are the best opportunities right now?
Yes, well, right now as an investor, the best opportunities, and I've had several in the last few months, where they're looking into multifamily income properties are a great source for cash flow. Beach apartments for vacation rentals on Airbnb are also very popular.
Yeah.
And the other popular one is opening up a ReMax franchise.
Nice plug.
Thank you for the opportunity to share the beauty of Puerto Rico. And hopefully the rest of the world gets to see what some of us already know, that Puerto Rico is a great and beautiful place to visit, but even better place to live these days.
Casita Blanca. Look how cute it is. And they open open the door for you?
This is Ricky Martin's favorite restaurant
Is
when he's
it
in town.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's super cool. Above me, I'm filming. So this is the rooftop garden. Oh, how nice.
He has his outdoor garden where he grows all his stuff.
Wow, that's so cool. So here they grow a bunch of food and spices for the dishes. I love it. Basil.
Comida.
Sí, ya. Oh, yes.
Comida.
Look at basil.
Yo doy semilla para sembrar allá.
All right, he's going to give you some seeds to grow.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Bueno. Yeah. Oh, great. Basil seeds.
¿Y eso es?
Albahaca. Eso se llama albahaca. Esto huele igual, bueno.
This elderly gentleman was so sweet. He is the gardener up there on the rooftop, and he insisted that I take some seeds home with me. And we did this, I didn't understand much of his Spanish, a little, but he did this big pantomime to show me exactly how to plant them and how to water them and how to grow them. And he gave me some basil seeds and some other seeds as well. And he was just the sweetest man, and this is typical of Puerto Rico. The people are just so kind and sweet, and this is what I love about this country. Even though it's a territory, it's like its own country.